Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk a little bit about working from home, which has become a mainstay this past year for many companies. I know our company started working from home towards the end of March 2020 when they started doing the initial lockdowns or stay-at-home orders. And thankfully we were very prepared for that simply because we already had a work-at-home environment in place. We use RDP Gateway with a terminal server farm in the back end. So all we had to do was spin up more virtual machines, add them to the farm, give people an RDP login, and they were good to go. What we did have issues with for the first few months was people calling us up saying, "Hey, I'm getting disconnected. It's laggy. I'm freezing. I'm typing an email. And when I type the email, the letters don't show up for 3, 4, 5 seconds. And this is unusable. I can't work like this." And of course, we always get blamed for it, IT. So all you IT professionals know where I'm coming from. For any users listening to this, you know exactly how frustrating it can be as well if you don't have a good connection to your office. So what I did is I created a few page tech tips for our users. And the first thing I wanted to let them know was, what do all those letters mean? B, G, N, A, C. There's a new one now, AX. What I did is highlighted the three most popular ones, G, N, and AC, and just I'll quickly go over the biggest pros and cons for both of those, or for all three of those. So G is, I believe, still the most common that they have right now. I think mostly for backwards compatibility. It's very rare to find a Wi-Fi signal that doesn't support it, just because so many Wi-Fi cards, some people don't update their Wi-Fi cards. Some people may still have older mobile phones that need to connect. The downside is it's slow and uses a 2.4 gigahertz. We'll get to the gigahertz, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz in just a few minutes. So 54 megs is a dinosaur speed nowadays, right? The range is only about 150 feet. Doesn't really go very far. It was one of the first to come out. They improved that with N. N does offer faster speeds and it can go to the 5 gigahertz range. Back in the day, I don't know so much now, but I put this in anyway. Not all devices can see wireless N or 5 gigahertz. So if you have an older mobile device or an older laptop or an older desktop that might have a USB connection, a USB adapter, it may not see that wireless N. I know I have Ring cameras at home and it can only see 2.4 gigahertz. So I have to put my router, my wireless router, into 2.4 gigahertz mode. I guess I was cheap. Maybe I bought the the older or the cheap Ring devices, but that's pretty much one of the downsides to N. But it can use both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Range is about 250 feet. I would suggest putting it on 5 gigahertz, but if you need older devices, you can run it on 2.4 and 5. .AC is fairly new. It's been around maybe for, gosh, I want to say close to 6 years now. A lot of the wireless routers that have AC would use beamforming, and what this does is it would create a more direct route, reliable, faster connection. It would try to find your device and just shoot the signal right there. Speeds of up to a gigabit per second. Wow, that's great. 5 gigahertz only. So if you have older devices, you really wouldn't be able to use it. 250 feet, about the same, and then it runs on the 5 gigahertz spectrum. .AX Wi-Fi 6. This is the new hotness. I don't have one at home personally. I have a technician who has one. She loves it. This has, I mean, 9.6 gigabits per second. That's phenomenal. I don't know. I don't know what I would use that for, honestly, right now. I don't have anything using those speeds. But you would increase the MIMO, which is multi-in, multi-out. You have faster performance. You can connect more devices. This is key. I'll get to that as well. You want to make sure that whatever Wi-Fi router you get can handle whatever devices you have. I know at my house, I've got probably 30 devices. I have two kids, my wife. We all have cell phones, laptops, desktops, Apple TVs, Fire TV sticks, our Ring devices. So we have quite a bit of devices connecting to our house alone. So you want to make sure that whatever Wi-Fi router you get can handle all of that. Now let's get to the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. In a nutshell, 2.4 gigahertz has one major downside. Everything is using that frequency from microwaves to old baby monitors. 2.4 gigahertz can travel further, which is really great, but if you keep getting knocked off, you might want to go to 5 gigahertz. 5 gigahertz is great as well, but it can't travel as far. So you have to kind of take the pros with the cons. I personally try to use 5 gigahertz wherever I can. And then what I do is I have a range extender. I actually have a mesh network at my house that connects to my main Wi-Fi router, and I just hard cable it to my extender, and that way I can fill the whole house. The next thing you want to do is make sure you have enough bandwidth at home. I would say the minimum would be 75 meg down, 10 meg up. And the reason being is because everybody's using a lot of video conferencing now, and you need that upload speed to upload the audio and the video. Audio is not too bad. Video needs a good chunk of data. You also want to make sure you have a modern Wi-Fi router, modern equipment from your ISP, or if you purchase it yourself, and a modern PC or laptop if you're going to connect to your office. And again, this will also be for VPN as well. VPN, I don't think is as picky as RDP is, but you want to make sure you have a constant connection. With your connection to troubleshoot, I do a few different things. I always Google or your favorite web browser, speed test ATT, speed test Xfinity, or whatever your ISP might be. Just do that just to make sure that you are getting your proper download speeds that they've promised you. I've had a couple times where I have a gig at home and all of a sudden it drops down to like 50 megs. And 9 times out of 10, I reboot my router. It's usually okay. Sometimes I have to call them up and then they do something on their side and it magically gives me my gig again. You also want to make sure that you can ping your server that you're connected to. Our RDP gateway servers that live outside of the network, we have a DNS name, and we just tell our users to ping that to make sure they can get a reply. You might, if you have a VPN, you might have something like vpn.company.com or something like that. But once you ping, if you're in Windows, open a command prompt. If you're in Mac, open up a terminal session. Even in Linux, open up a terminal session and then ping whatever DNS name they give you. And what you're looking for is two things. One, you're looking for the number next to the words MS, and then, or next to the letters MS. And for us, anything over 80 milliseconds, you'll get screen lag, you'll get disconnects. Um, or if you have a request timeout, you'll get disconnects. And the reason that is because RDP is very, very picky. It, for some reason, does not like any type of hiccup. That's why a lot of our users will tell us, oh, but my Netflix is working great. And, my kids are online and they're on the web and it's running perfectly. Well, you know, websites, Netflix. I think Netflix was created by aliens because that thing you can turn off your Wi-Fi and that thing will buffer probably for like 2 minutes. RDP, even VPN, not so much. It needs a constant, stable connection. So if you have a high millisecond, which they call RTT, round trip time, when it comes back to you, if it's 80 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, or if you're getting request timeouts, you're going to have a lot of issues. Keep in mind, your IT staff may block pinging just to block DDoS attacks. If that's the case, you may have to ask them another way to verify that you're getting a good connection with them. But make sure that you're not getting any request timeouts. Make sure the millisecond is as low as you can. I would say 40 or below is good. The next thing that you want to do is just double check with your IT group if you are an end user. Make sure that they're not having any issues. As I mentioned before, we usually have 9 out of 10 times it's something on the user side. Another thing to keep in mind is if you're using a hotspot, like one of those little Wi-Fi hotspots, those little devices that you can get from AT&T or Verizon, those run off the cellular data and all the cellular signal from that provider. And if you don't have a good cell signal, it won't work. We had a user call us up, say, "Hey, I can't work, nothing's working," and we found out that he told us finally after much digging, you have to take like 30 minutes to ask people sometimes. He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't have a good Wi-Fi in my building, so I've been using a hotspot from AT&T." And T. And we're like, "Okay, well, what does your like how many bars are you getting?" "Oh, I'm getting like one or two." And we're like, "Dude, that's not gonna work. You know, you can't have one or two signal bars for signal and expect to have a good connection." International travel, I know for us, we block a lot of countries from accessing our public IP range. And during the pandemic, we noticed a lot of people leaving the States and going to different countries. So we had to temporarily remove those blocks, and then we put them back in once they were done. But keep a few of these things in mind. I hope I've helped some of you out. If you get a chance, please like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. Let me know in the comments below what you like, what you don't like. I would be happy to make more videos, more popular videos, if anybody is looking for something in particular. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.